Hi, Ed here with Ed's 2 cents worth. And what I want to talk to you about today is the buzz that we hear on the internet about tools, power tools, battery operated cordless tools that are being adapted, battery systems, to a particular tool set. And we're doing that because, quite frankly, it is ridiculous how many different batteries there are out there that we need for the tools that we buy. What the companies are trying to do is get you to buy only their brand. And of course, human beings that we are, we always find ways to circumvent what others are doing, and that's through adapters. So there are a lot of adapters available on the internet where you can adapt certain batteries to different tools. And that's great up to a point. And there are some things that we're going to discuss in the concluding comments here of this video that you need to be aware of and think about if you're going to do this. Because it's not just a matter of just taking the battery and that you want and adapting it to the tool and there you go. There are things you need to be aware of. Now, what I've chosen here, I've got different options here of batteries. I've chosen this 24 volt cobalt battery. I've got several of these. They're an excellent battery. Not that these aren't, they're fine, but I have so many of these. I've got the charger to go with it and everything. I'm going to adapt this. Now, here's something that I want to have you be thinking about in the back of your mind. These are 18 volt tools. I'm going to adapt them to 24 volts. Now, I'm very comfortable because I've done some research. I'm very comfortable that I can do this and get away with it. But you need to do your own research in order to make sure that what you do that you're comfortable with, okay? So that's what this video is about. How can I adapt this to this? Because there is no adapter available at this time, okay? I can't find an adapter just to plug this in and put it into this. So I'm going to build my own adapter. And you may have the same situation. In fact, one of my subscribers had contacted me asking about, in our little forum, asking about where he could find a particular adapter for a particular tool set and a particular battery that he wanted to use. And there doesn't seem to be an adapter out there to do it. So maybe this will be of help to him. This is not the exact same setup he is wanting to adapt, but this is what I have that I'm wanting to adapt. So I can't find the adapter for this brand of tool for the cobalt battery. So I'm going to make it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a battery dock, okay? And the battery dock, of course, is made for the cobalt, right? But I'm going to take this old battery here and I'm going to use parts of it. I'm going to take the batteries out and I'm going to use parts of it and adapt this dock to it so that I can hook the battery up to it and then plug it, the entire assembly in to the tool. And I'm hoping that you'll stay tuned in to see how I do that, because it may help you have ideas how you can adapt, make your own adapter if you're in that situation. Buying the adapters, most often they're reasonably priced. Once in a while there's a combination that you want that's really out there. So you have to weigh all this stuff out as to how to go. But if you can buy the adapter, it's probably the simplest way to go. But if you want to do this and you can't find that adapter, it is possible to make this work. So please stay tuned, and also stay tuned to the final comments, because there's some things in there I think that you're going to want to hear, things that you're going to want to consider if you're going to take this on. Now what we're starting with here is the disassembly, of course, of the battery itself. So we're going to remove all the casing screws, and that will expose the batteries, the circuit board, as well as the terminals. Now, portions of this video have been sped up so that you don't get bored watching me take out screws and things of that nature. So we'll be done with this part here in a second. Okay, so now we can separate the case parts. Now this circuit board is designed to protect the battery when it's charging, but also when it's being used. It will cut off power to the tool if it overheats, and will cut off charging to the batteries if they get too warm. So now we have to decide what it is we want. We don't want the circuit board. We don't have the technical information needed to adapt this circuit board from one manufacturer to another. So out it goes. I'm going to cut off the leads to our terminals. I'm going to give ourselves as much slack as we can. Now basically we're done with those batteries and that circuit board. But those terminals are all important. Now we're only going to use 2 of those 3 terminals. So it's necessary to make connections between the terminals and the battery adapter, or actually it's a battery dock. There's the battery dock, and that is going to be connected to the housing of the old battery so that we can create an adapter. So we solder the connection using butt connectors first, and we crimped those butt connectors, then we soldered it, and now we're going to put heat shrink material over so that we have it insulated. And we've got to do that also to the negative side. In this particular case, the wiring color, the red is the positive and the black is negative. You may find that on some docks that the colors are different. After soldering the heat shrink material again to insulate. Got to get those terminals in the proper place. Now this particular battery, or the old battery, was Ryobi, and they have this kind of unique post design to the battery. So that's the part that we're critically needing. And we also want to use the bottom half of the battery because we want to be able to continue to lock this into place on the tool, and that's where the locks are. And you notice the slot that's in the front of the part that locks. You can see it there at the one end where the wires are. I had to cut that slot in there. There it is right there. And that's there so you can pull the wires back through in the right direction. And you'll see that better in a minute. Again, we've got double speed going on here. Just testing it, make sure it releases and locks to the tool. Works good. Okay, so now we've got to get the battery dock in place on the tool. So I'm going to drill and then put screws in. It's just plastic now, so you can't over tighten anything when you put these screws in. But you just snug them down, and between the 3 screws you'll have a nice solid base. Remember, there's no batteries inside anymore, so you're not going to screw into any batteries or anything. There's nothing in there to damage. So basically, it's together. It all goes into the tool fine. And the battery goes into the dock fine. And it runs. And I can see my charge status on my battery. And of course remove the battery and reinsert it and remove it and reinsert it. So, as you saw in the video of me making it, this is what I came up with. Battery will go in there. All my functions work. My different speeds. And this particular drill is variable speed, so I could go really, really slow or speed up partially or go full wide open. But not all drills are that way. Some drills are just a slow speed and a high speed. So I can look at my level of battery that's left right there. I can see that fine. I can remove the battery quite easily. I can also remove the adapter and put it over into other tools. Actually, on this saw, this little bit extra weight back really gives it a kind of a nice feel. It makes the overall saw heavy, but heavier, but it does have a nice balanced feel to it. So it works. Now, what are some things we should be concerned about? Well, if you've ever noticed and looked at the batteries close, you'll see that there are more than just 2 connectors. In my adapter here that I hooked up, of course, here's the battery that I used, and it's got 3 connections on this particular battery. But I only hooked up 2. A positive and a negative. Okay, that third one here and that one that was down here are gone. I totally removed that circuit board that was inside this battery along with the batteries. Now, what does that mean? Well, in any of these batteries, these modern batteries, there's going to be circuitry inside. And the circuitry is there because lithium batteries have a reputation. If they get too hot, they're going to catch fire. And I mean a fire that is super hot. And of course, when you have a fire like that, they also have a tendency to blow out and push out when they go up in flames. So if you have anything that's 2 feet away, right? If it's flammable, there's a good chance it's going to catch fire, and it's going to be a hot fire. So that circuitry is designed to protect the battery in 2 ways. I didn't alter the battery at all. I altered the tool, the transfer of electricity from the battery to the tool, in the sense that the protection is gone. Okay? So what that means is, and there's no way I could come up with making the protection even in the adapters that you buy already made. The odds are the protection is not there. Okay? The reason for this is the people that manufacture those adapters would have to know the circuitry design in the tools that they're adapting to, and they would have to know the circuitry design in the batteries, and they would have to have the ability to make circuitry in their adapter that could go from that battery to the tool and keep you safe. And at the price level that they're doing it, I just can't believe that it's there. So be forewarned in that regard. Now, what's the danger? Well, if I get this battery really getting hot, I've used some tools, in fact, I've used these particular tools and got them so hot that I couldn't hold them with my hand. Not the battery now, the tool itself. I had to wear gloves because I was abusing the tool so much that it was getting so hot I could not. These vents that allow the tool to breathe, if I put my hand there to kind of hold support, I'd burn my hand. That's how hot the tools were getting. Well, that means there's a large transfer of electricity from the battery into the tool. That means the battery's warming up. If the battery warms up too much, you're going to have yourself one kind of fire. So be forewarned and know that if you do something like this, the responsibility is on you. Okay? You can play it totally safe and always use the batteries that come from the manufacturer. Okay? Use Ryobi. I'm not going to even buy the Chinese equivalent because I don't know if they got that circuitry right. It's in there, but I don't know if it's really the protection that I need. So I'll stick to the manufacturer brand battery for the particular tool if I want to play it absolutely safe. If I feel like I've got some smarts about me and I can be monitoring what I'm doing, in other words, when I'm using this tool, I'm going to occasionally check and feel this battery. Okay, it's going to be sticking out here and I'm going to be touching it anyway, but I'm going to be conscious of whether this battery is warming up. And if it's warming up too much, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to put another battery in if I want to keep going. Or I'm just going to set it down and give it a rest for a while. Whatever the case. But you need to have this mindset that what you're doing is you are going rogue. You are modifying. You are perverting the intention of the manufacturers for these tools and their battery systems. It's great. We can make it work if we're careful, if we use that smarts that we got upstairs and make sure that we test that battery, feel that battery every so often to make sure it's not getting too warm. In any case, the responsibility belongs to each of us in what we do. So if what I did today, works for you and you want to try it out, I hope it was inspirational. If you want to play it safe, then by all means do that. But these batteries, all these different types of batteries, this is just a small sampling here, and it's absolutely mind-boggling. How many batteries out there, how many different tools, and if you buy one brand for the drill and another brand for the saw and another brand for the flashlight, another brand for the grinder, and so on and so on, you got all these different batteries. So think it out before you do anything and decide what you want to do. The 24 volt to the 18 volt will work, especially because I'm conscious of it. But also, the motors are built for more voltage than what they're specified. So if I'm careful, I can get away with this. If I'm ignoring safety, I'm going to catch something on fire. Hopefully it's not me. So keep these things in mind, please, and click that like button, and please subscribe. Thank you so much.